Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking something super exciting, the ultimate 2026 optimization toolkit. Whether you're grinding for one of the most brutal medical exams out there, or you're trying to engineer that next viral moment online, just putting your head down and working hard, yeah, that doesn't cut it anymore. It's really about applying a highly specific, overarching set of optimized strategies. We're going to break down exactly how top achievers are engineering their success right now. Let's dive in. Here's our game plan for today. We'll start with the core concept of the 2026 optimization toolkit, then we'll move into systematizing your strategy, explore the need for speed, look at leveraging next-gen tools, and finally, wrap it up with driving the final action.
All right, Section 1, the 2026 Optimization Toolkit, Mastering High-Stakes Performance.
So, think about this for a second. What on earth does scoring in the top 10% of a medical board exam have in common with getting 30,000 views on a YouTube tech tutorial in just 5 days? I mean, on the surface, absolutely nothing, right? But when we look at the source data from high achievers in both of these spaces, they actually rely on the exact same underlying DNA. We're talking meticulous preparation, highly optimized tactics, and a rigid, almost obsessed adherence to proven systems.
To put this into perspective, let's look at this number. 2,700. This is an absolutely critical benchmark. As of 2025, the abstract reasoning section was totally scrapped from the UK's medical entrance exam, the UCAT. So now, med students are left with just 3 cognitive subtests, making 2,700 the absolute maximum cognitive score for the 2026 exam. This is it. This is the exact, unyielding target pre-meds are ruthlessly optimizing for. Hitting a top-tier score, which is basically anything above 2220, means they have to literally strip away every single ounce of friction from their study process.
Which brings us to Section 2, Systematizing Your Strategy, Playbooks for Winning.
To strip away that friction we just talked about, you can't just rely on guesswork. You really need a playbook. Look at how digital creators systematize their workflows, for example. High-performing explainer scripts don't just magically happen. They follow a strict 5-part framework that massively boosts viewer retention. First, it starts with a hook to snatch your attention in those critical first 5 seconds. Then, it introduces the viewer's problem. After that, you get the build-up to crank up the curiosity, followed by a crystal-clear solution. And finally, you wrap the whole thing up with a call to action. It's a highly structured blueprint that takes abstract ideas and turns them into actual conversions.
Now, how exactly do you nail that absolute crucial first step, the hook? Well, a super powerful tactic is called in media res. It's actually a dramatic technique from literature and movies where you totally skip the slow, boring introduction and just thrust viewers right into the middle of ongoing action. When you start your content already in motion, boom, viewer attention is instantly hijacked.
And this brings us to another brilliant hooking tactic, hijacking a smart soundbite. By immediately dropping a powerful quote, like this classic one from Steve Jobs, you instantly establish credibility. You're basically borrowing the authority of outstanding people, so you don't have to spend 20 minutes trying to build it up yourself. It signals to the viewer, right out of the gate, that what they're watching is high quality and totally worth their time.
But you might be wondering, how rigid does this system actually need to be? Well, while a full script is great for complex tutorials to make sure you're perfectly accurate, and a loose outline is best for casual vlogs, the ultimate 2026 workflow actually uses a hybrid approach. The top creators write out a bullet point outline, expand that into a partial script, but they deliberately leave room for natural delivery. This perfectly balances rigid structure with that genuine authenticity we all crave.
Moving right along to Section 3, the need for speed, accelerating intake and output.
In these high-stakes environments, speed isn't just nice to have, it is a massive competitive advantage. Let's jump back to that UCAT exam. The verbal reasoning section forces candidates to answer 44 questions in just 22 minutes. You guys, that's a brutal 30 seconds per question, and that includes reading the passage. To conquer this, top scorers literally double their reading speed using a 3-step method. First, they eliminate subvocalization. You know that little voice in your head reading along with you? Yeah, turn that off. Second, they chunk words together, flicking their eyes to just 3 spots on a line, instead of reading word by word. And third, they use a guiding card to force their eyes forward without rereading. They don't need to memorize the text forever. They just need it in their brain long enough to answer the question and move on.
But hey, speed isn't just about reading, right? It's also about your output. Digital creators use this brilliant thing called the read aloud test. Before they ever hit record, they read their partial script out loud. Doing this simple action instantly flags unnatural phrasing and catches like 80% of script issues right then and there. Writing for the ear, not the eye, saves a massive amount of editing time later on.
Let's head into Section 4, Leveraging Next-Gen Tools, Working Smarter with 2026 Tech. The absolute golden rule of 2026 tech is that tools are additive. They aren't replacements. True optimization means knowing exactly which technology to deploy for your specific friction points. Take medical education, for instance. There is a world of difference between a traditional question bank and an AI medical tutor. A QBank gives you a static, one-size-fits-all explanation, which is totally perfect for borderline assessment. But an AI tutor? That actually engages in a conversational dialogue to explain the underlying why of clinical reasoning. Top students aren't picking one over the other. They're using UWorld or Amboss QBanks to assess themselves, and then bringing in an AI tutor to remediate their specific, personal knowledge gaps.
And they're definitely not just using generic AI. They use highly specialized 2026 AI tutors. You've got Sina, which is prized for strict citation grounding. It ties every single claim to peer-reviewed literature. Then there's Glia, embedded directly inside clinical case simulations. Amboss AI layers conversational learning right over a deeply curated physician-edited library. And Hippocrates provides incredible subspecialty depth for complex things like hematology and oncology. But here's the real secret sauce. They command the AI to quiz them first. They actively force retrieval rather than falling into the lazy trap of passive consumption. That is a total game changer.
And you know, this hyper-specialized tooling applies to the digital space too. Just like in medicine, your digital tools absolutely must match the task at hand. When recording an app demo, developers are completely shifting away from desktop-first tools for mobile apps. Enter DemoScope. It's a mobile-first tool specifically designed with natural face cam proportions and built-in touch indicators. It's literally perfect for App Store previews. Loom is still king for desktop team collaboration, while your standard built-in iOS recorder is totally fine for quick internal bug reports. You've got to match the tool to the specific audience experience you want to create.
And finally, Section 5, Driving the Final Action, Converting Attention to Results. Listen, all of this systematic preparation and blinding speed means absolutely nothing if it doesn't actually convert into a result. In the online world, this means a call to action, or CTA. You literally have to explicitly tell the audience what to do next. Here are the top 6 CTAs driving retention and growth in 2026. You've got asking viewers to subscribe and hit the notification bell, directing them to a watch next playlist to keep that session time going, asking for a like and share to feed the algorithmic reach, prompting a follow for short-form content, pushing them to a link in the description for external conversions, or pitching a join membership for exclusive perks. You have to use clear, action-oriented language to guide the viewer home.
Now, a super sophisticated way to drive this action is by leveraging what's called the curiosity gap. This is the psychological space between the information you promised at the start and the information you actually deliver at the end. By subtly teasing the resolution but leaving viewers on the hook, you actually trigger the brain's survival-oriented mechanisms. They literally feel compelled to stay engaged just to close that gap. It's incredibly effective.
So as we pull all these amazing strategies together, remember that an optimized strategy requires balance. Just like the 2026 UCAT cognitive exam is perfectly split into 3 equal pillars: verbal reasoning, decision-making, and quantitative reasoning, your approach to performance has to be beautifully, perfectly balanced as well. You need the structured playbook, the raw speed, the specialized tools, and the mechanics to drive the final action, all working together in perfect harmony. Which leaves us with this final thought. You've seen the rigorous systems medical students use to conquer the UCAT, and the brilliant frameworks creators use to hook millions of viewers. The toolkit is out there, right at your fingertips. So, I have to ask, are your current study and work habits truly 2026 ready? Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and I really hope this sparks some fresh, optimized ideas for your own workflows. See you next time.